Kellyanne Conway, the president's counselor, is there. Kellyanne, how are you feeling?
We're feeling good. We know that the first day of early voting really benefited the Democrats in places like North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Georgia. They had a significant advantage. You know, if you're an anti-Trump voter, you've waited 4 years to vote against him. So people came early, but they can't come often. You can complain about him hundreds of times, post things thousands of times, but you can only vote against the president one time. And that's why we know the day of voters, just like in 2016, are very strong today in 2020. In some of those counties like Dawson, Pennsylvania, Upper Peninsula, Michigan, we're feeling really good about some of the early returns in places like that. So if we can protect the 2016 map and even sacrifice a state here or there, we don't want to, we still feel like we can get over 270 tonight. The president, he's feeling great, George, because in the end, he ran the campaign these last 7 to 10 days that he knows how to run. He takes the case directly to the people, 15 rallies or so in 3 days. He wants to make sure he gets regional and local coverage as well as national coverage. And voters appreciate candidates who earn their vote. They feel like you literally show up and put up. And nobody does that quite like President Trump. So he very much appreciated the fact that he can get out there into all the nooks and crannies of these different swing states and bring the case directly to the people as the outsider incumbent.
And will we hear from him tonight?
Will he what? I'm sorry?
Will we hear from him tonight?
Yes, you will hear from the president tonight. I'm headed over to the White House shortly. We'll be joined by, I think, a couple hundred people, and the president is expected to address the nation later from the East Room of the White House. And we know that you heard from President-elect Trump at about 3 a.m. Chris Christie and I were there, 3 a.m. after Huma Abedin called my cell phone at 2:30 a.m. Things went really late into the night, and that's before we had this explosion of early voting and mail-in ballots. In a year of 2020, the year of uncertainty, George, why shouldn't the presidential election be wrapped with uncertainty as well with just a few hours to go? So we're not in a rush. We're patient people. I certainly am. But I know the president, I watched him watch returns now in 2016 and 2018. And he really gets very quiet. He watches. He's working the phones. People are running in from the war room, giving him data, giving him their best guesses, but not their wishful thinking. And I appreciate that. The president was the last one. Governor Christie will remember. He was really the last one to think he was going to win in 2016 that night, even though the returns were coming in state by state. So we're pretty confident in the competence of the ground game. We've never had nobody's ever had 2.5 million volunteers. For example, President Obama came close to 2.2 million in 2012. But the enthusiasm, the energy, and the engagement in these last 7 to 10 days belongs to President Trump. I think the polls and the political professionals definitely belong to Joe Biden. Lots of issues motivating voters this year: first-time voters, independent voters, suburban voters, senior voters. I've been watching them for quite a while during my career. And I would remind everybody something I haven't heard much of, which is in 2012, when President Obama got successfully reelected, he didn't do as well. He was down 6 points among 18 to 29-year-olds. He did less well among women. He did less well overall against Mitt Romney than he had John McCain 4 years earlier. So a president can lose some ground in some of these key groups and still be reelected. We're not talking about electability, who can win or who can't win. We're talking about electoral college. And busting through that blue wall like we did in 2016 is really the key to tonight.
Yep. Kellyanne Conway, thanks very much.